Welcome to the Black Stage, presented by 255. 255 is a collaborative of 5 individuals who came together to promote Blackness in all its facets. We are Layla Isaac, Kim Joseph, Rudy Joseph, Sean Robinson, and me, Kamara Watkins. We created this event to showcase Black talent during Black History Month. We purposefully have chosen creatives, entrepreneurs, leaders, and healers so that we can talk about the uniqueness of the Black experience in these different fields, and so that we can look at some of the commonalities that we experience as a Black community. You are going to truly enjoy learning more about each of these individuals, hearing about their talent, being able to see some of their work and some of the things that they contribute to the world. So we ask you to sit back, relax, enjoy the Black Stage, presented by 255.
Now, this person has never once met a stranger. One of the biggest personalities that I know. Now, his first passion was playing football. Makes sense as a former NFL athlete. But even while playing, he found his true passion for storytelling. Welcome to the Black Stage, producer and writer for movie field entertainment, Brandon Miree.
Frederick Douglass was born into slavery in Talbot County, Maryland in the early 19th century. At 16 years old, Frederick was sent to a cruel slave breaker to have his spirit crushed. Edward Covey was a person who used violence to destroy the wills of unruly slaves. Covey's tactics included savage beatings and psychological torture. Many of Frederick's scars were visible, many were not, because Covey's forms of persecution were designed to dismantle Frederick's state of mind. One day, Frederick was beaten badly and ran away. While hiding in the woods, he came across a slave named Sandy Jenkins who gave him a magical root and told him if he carried it in his right pocket, it'd be impossible for Covey or any man to whip him again. Initially passing it off as superstition, there was something about Sandy's confidence that made Frederick take the root and go back to Covey. While tending horses in the stable, Covey snuck up on Frederick and struck him. Frederick fought Covey back, fiercely, for over 2 hours till the slave breaker finally gave up. It was that day Frederick claimed he was a slave in form, but not a slave in fact. Meaning, while physically he was still a slave, his mind was no longer that of a slave's mind. Imagine a slave walking around like he's not a slave. Imagine the looks he got from other slaves and slave owners as he looked them in their eyes. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Frederick's body spent 4 more years in chains, but he was never whipped by another man again. It took 4 years for Frederick's physical reality to finally catch up to his mental, and he went on to become an entrepreneur, author, and liberator. Who do you think you are? Are you a slave relegated to his circumstances? Or are you an overcomer like Douglass who learned to read, freed his mind, and gained freedom for himself and others? If it worked for Frederick Douglass back then, how much more can you achieve today? Who do you think you are?
Listen up, I got a story to tell. Listen up, he got a story to tell.
Hey!
Listen up, he got a story to tell.
Hey!
Welcome to the Black Stage, my guy, the man, the myth, the legend, Brandon Brick Miree. What's up?
Yeah! What's up?
My guy, how are you?
I'm great, man. Nice sunny day out here in California, Russ. So any day, you get a chance to enjoy it is a beautiful thing.
California love, California love. So, starting with location, where are you from? Where are you from originally?
Oh, man, born and raised Cincinnati, Ohio. Forest Park is a suburb north of Cincinnati, the 11,000 block, F section. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, from a little
So
small suburb north of Cincinnati.
dig it, dig it. So you in LA now, and so what are you bringing to the Black Stage?
Oh man, you know
What's your
what?
art?
One of the most powerful forms of art to me, and Ozzie Davis said, any form of art is a form of power. And one of the most powerful forms of art is storytelling. So I'm a storyteller. I'm a creator. I create stories for the silver screen. So whether it's digital, film, or television.
I dig it. I dig it. I dig it. And so, when did you find out you had a passion for this? You have a love for this art form.
It's funny. Stories. I used to always love to hear stories. I knew that stories. If someone was to tell me a story, I would be more likely to remember it. And at some point, it was just a thought. Well, you know what? Could be a possibility for a living. When I was at Pitt, I took an undergraduate writing course that it was an elective. I just knew I had to take it, and I came out with some stories I felt pretty proud of. Like my teacher was challenging me to do better and better work. And I felt like, man, what was in my head and what was in my heart was on that page. And I was joking around with my tutors who were graduate students at the time. And I was like, hey, I want to be a writer like y'all. How can I write? And one guy said, just write. And the other one said, you know what you can do? He said, when I graduate, I'm going to California to become a screenwriter. And at this time, I was like, what does that mean? So he took me online and we looked at scripts of movies that have been produced. And he said, hey, once you learn the format, your ideas can go from there. And the other guy said, yeah, because you do got some good ideas. So he gave me a list of books to read. And I just started reading those books and reading those scripts, and it was just a hobby. And I just remember one thing that he told me. He said, just don't get too attached to what you write, because by the time you get to the big screen, it might not look like what you originally wrote. And I was like, how can I have more creative control? If I had a story I really wanted to tell, then I found out directors have more creative control. And then I found out producers have more creative control. So it just kind of went into a beautiful journey from there.
Dig it, dig it. So you talk about directing and producing, leads me to the other side of normal.
Oh, okay.
Tell us about it. What is it?
Man, so it's about a therapist who basically has to deal with her quirky clients while her life is spiraling right there in front of her. So the premise of this was pretty much, hey, those people you see and they're like, man, those people got it together, right? And then what about the people who actually get paid to help get other people together? But what does it look like when their stuff isn't together? And so I kind of created that based on that premise. And so a couple of episodes in where she basically finds out that the surrogate that is carrying their child wants to keep the baby. At the same time, her husband wants a divorce. So she's got to deal with that while dealing with all these quirky clients that have all these things.
She hit him with the color purple. I hope I'm not giving it away. Everything, yeah, hey, hit him with the color purple, but they'll understand it when they see it.
Very much so.
Yeah. So when can they see it? How can they stay connected with you?
Yeah, I'm at IG at blah 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 blah. I don't know if people just want to follow me, man. I'm just different. It's like, no, but Brick 2500 without the C, BRIK 2500. But the best way to stay in touch with my projects is usually go to pro.moviefield.com. Pro.moviefield.com. You'll get on my email list. I promise I won't harass you. You'll be able to find out any upcoming projects that I have and I'm releasing and where they're going to be and all of that good stuff. My goal is to continue to create free content. So if I can continue to get more people to see it, then I could continue to hopefully make a living telling stories for the next 40 years. So
I love it. Well, thank you for joining us on the Black Stage. You're talking about being more than an athlete. By being a former NFL athlete, you embody what it means to be successful outside of sport and being more than an athlete. So, Brandon, what is blackness to you?
Great question. Blackness to me is a culture. It is a culture of people, of melanated people, of various shades of melanated people who have been separated from the motherland. So to me, blackness is what arose in the conditions of white supremacy in America, to be quite honest. So I always like to joke that I feel like all of us are cousins, because if you go online and you see a meme or you see, somebody joking, you're like, yo, they do that too.
Right.
It's pretty, it's a subculture that's just pretty powerful and prominent that people around the world that tend to gravitate towards.
And so in the movie industry, film industry, storytelling industry, can you speak to your experience as a Black person navigating that space?
Yeah, and it really kind of led me to be in the route that I'm in now. It's funny because most of the gatekeepers, they don't look like me, right? And they don't speak like me. And like I said, as a result of the subculture that we created, they may not be able to understand some of the nuances of our culture. So if I write something and somebody who's not of our culture or familiar with our culture, uh, they might not get it. And so a joke might not land and things of that nature. And so my stuff could end up on the rejection path, right? So as a result, I'm like, bump the system, whatever. Let me, prove my concepts on my own, because I believe there is an audience out there for the stories that I tell and the things that I speak. So, um, so it is an issue that Black people have in Hollywood. And there is a subject of a document series that I'm doing called Black in Hollywood, where we celebrate Black excellence and we talk about, Black creatives' journeys, in Hollywood. And you'll hear a reoccurring theme where, people just don't get Black people. They think there's a worldview, and that's the worldview that's been pushed out. But there is a desire for Black creatives to have authentic stories told by Black people that not just center around Black trauma, but just a breadth and range and scope of stories and storytelling. And so it really just led me to kind of say, all right, I'm going to quit trying to pitch my stuff to people or whatever, and I'm gonna just do my stuff my own, and hopefully I can build enough of an audience to to be able to do it independently of Hollywood. And if a Hollywood come, or when Hollywood comes, I'll be able to do it on my terms at that point.
So I wonder, do you have hope that is going to improve in the future for Black people in this industry? I'm thinking because of, with social media, with YouTube, Vimeo. I think of Issa Rae, which she started Awkward Black Girl YouTube series, and now she's the Issa Rae, and there's other stories of that. So do you have hope that it's going to improve, and there will be a number of Issa Raes or a number of successful people of color, Black people, telling stories at a high level in this fullness of the Blackness that we embody?
That's a great question. I am optimistic. I think that, in some ways there were more authentic stories told in the 90s than they are in the late, in the 2020s, right? And what happened between then and now, you had there's a big article in the trade that talks about the demise of the UPN network. Yeah. Where UPN was a platform, that really kind of got his prominence from, Black storytellers and creators. And then all of a sudden they pull the rug out from underneath them, and all these Black creators are kind of just out there, in the wind, and thinking it could cross over into the traditional white storytelling world. And these guys had to really take pay cuts, and we're just out there on the road. It was a tsunami of somebody described it as a tsunami of just of people just getting fired and let go and just being out there, right? So if that happened, and then you go from the 90s and 2000s, and now you have this big gap, right? And now we're still trying to fight. So what we as a people should do is we can't really let up, because everything that we've got in this country as Black people, we had to fight for it. It wasn't something that they just gave us. You see what I'm saying? Whether it was freedom, civil rights, the whole nine, everything has been fought for. And it's a situation to where if we just let down our guard or, different things of that nature, we might see setbacks, right? So we can't really accept, we can't accept what we're given. We can't ask for permission. We just got to go for what we go for. So it's a lot, because most people look at Hollywood as being this ultra progressive place, but the numbers inside of Hollywood mirror the numbers in any other industry. If you look at history, June 6th of 1935, a year after Hitler became chancellor of the Nazi party, he got the party leaders together, all these lawyers, and they crafted what became the Nuremberg laws to what they were going to do to the Jews. And the majority of those discussions were based on America, because they said America had it figured out how to create a society where white people are at the top and blacks and other minorities are second-class citizens legally. So if you look at, that was June 1935, 30 years later, you had the Civil Rights Movement. 50 years after that, you have the Black Lives Matter rally movement, right? Right now in 2022, if you look in every industry, at every company in every industry, the people who run that company 9 out of 10 times belong to one race. So out of all that progress
Right.
that we've made or supposedly made, 9 out of 10 people are typically white people, right? And my question is, with all the different ethnicities, all the different races in the world, if you think competition was truly fair, white people will come out 9 out of 10 times. So it's some very big structural issues that we're dealing with, that we're fighting through, these strongholds. So we just got to continue to fight so that our generations after us, will have it better. So it's a lot.
Yeah, and so we say fight, we're fighting against systems. It's a system that was created and built. It's structural, right? It's structural, systematic, and it's actually working for those who created it. And so
very much so.
Yeah.
And and how I look at it is, slavery was an institution, right? An institution is a custom or something that's normal. And the reason why it was so hard to defeat slavery, because it was an institution. It was just so many different layers to it, right? When slavery went away, they just created other institutions. One was the very, public and visible Jim Crow and what have you. But even after, separation, desegregation of schools, they created systems to be able to, make sure that $30 could go to a black student, that for $300 go to a white person's education, a white student's education, right? So these are institutions that we're dealing with that we can't see on the surface. You know what I mean? And so it's a situation where we're dealing with many, many strongholds, because when we try to make progress, there's something that they're doing to try to pull the rug out from underneath us. And there's a book I read recently, maybe last year, called White Rage. And this sister, she breaks it down at different levels on how, they've subverted democracy, subverted capitalism, just to keep us in a situation where, we're fighting to get ahead.
Considering everything, all the challenges, everything that you're facing, we're facing, what keeps you inspired? How do you keep going?
Man, that's a great question, man. I'm inspired by the roses that grew through concrete. I'm inspired. There's 42 million African Americans here, 42 million Black people. And there are a lot of success stories. My last name is shared with white ancestors with the same last name in Alabama. And in many ways, the Mirees that didn't have a head start, my blood relatives, we've done more with our last name than people who had a head start. Do you understand what I'm saying? So
Yes.
I've got a first cousin that graduated from Harvard. I've got pageant winners, business owners, top bankers. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so I see inspiration around me. You know, I remember, I look at you and I think about the conversations we had when you were starting Orange Arrow, and I see where you are now. And I get inspiration like, yo, if Sean Robb can do it, I can do it. And so I get inspiration from around me. I'll get inspiration from afar. And, you know, I just love, you know, I'm a people lover. I love all people. And but until I love myself, right, which is Black people, you know, I can't truly love people, or I have some sort of fetish, right? So I love our people and I want the best for us. So that's what keeps me inspired.
Man, the feeling's mutual, bro. The feeling's mutual.
Absolutely.
You keep me inspired as well. Let's end on a lighter note.
Let's go.
You are hosting a party, right? Friends, family, whatever. You only can choose one game. Everyone playing spades, or are they playing Uno? Spades or Uno? Which one are you going with?
You know what? Here's the thing. You know, I told you I love my people, but spades players, they tend to be know-it-alls. So it brings a certain type of caliber person that plays spades. So we are playing Uno all day. Okay?
What?
All
that was a setup.
day.
That was a bait and switch. Come on, man.
I ain't messing with no spades, man. Bump that. Bump that.
Man,
You know what? I can play spades, but you know, but I'll tell you, spades players, it's like it's an uppity thing, man. The spades players, y'all got some ways about yourself. Let me just say that. Y'all got ways about yourselves.
Man, Joker, deuce, ace, man. You get that talking, that talk. You get then you got that partner, that team there, man. You know what it means to have a teammate on it. I thought for sure you were gonna say spades.
Oh no, man. No, man. Uno is a classic, brother. Uno is a classic. It is like you could do so much with Uno. I'm telling you, you hit somebody with some four, get four. I mean, it's almost like punching somebody with
Hey, especially when you playing stats, somebody throw a draw for it, pick him up.
Right.
Wow, you pick it
right.
up, go 8. Yeah,
that's physical, man. That's physical. You feel like there's a physical feeling that you feel when you get hit with a draw 4 and somebody Uno out on it. Draw 4, Uno out. Like, oh, hold on now.
But ain't nothing like that big joker though. It goes over. It's a wrap. Ain't no coming back from
True. See, I ain't really had I hadn't had the experience where I could go out on that big joker though. I ain't gonna lie. So maybe it's like a golf swing. Like if you ain't experienced it, right? You know what I'm saying? You don't appreciate it because you know when you get that one golf hit, you know you in. You know what I mean? I hadn't had that. Right. So maybe that's what that is. You know?
That one way. Awesome, Brandon. Again, thank you for your time. Appreciate you, boss.
My brother. Appreciate you.